Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Elevate's Summer Survival Series. Here's what's going on in our room. Little kid toys, storage chairs, but no me and you. Well, me, but not you. Anyhow, the Summer Survival Series is going to come at you every Monday. We're going to post a little message either by Benny or by myself, or who knows, maybe some other people too. And you say, why do I need a Summer Survival Series? Summer's just all about having fun. Pretty soon, you just make it through the summer. But did you know that's exactly how God doesn't want you and I to live? That's right. He doesn't want life to just happen to us. He wants us to make life happen to other people. That's true. Jesus said in John 10:10, I've come that you might have life and have it to the full. And Ephesians 5 says, be careful how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity. So that's what the Summer Survival Series is all about. Every message is meant to help you get the most out of this summer, living life to the full, living the life that God intends for you. Whether you can go out, can't go out, home, not at home, school, on-site in the fall, or not, who knows? We'll find out. But check in with us on Monday, and we'll be talking to you right here. Benny has the first message for you right now.
Hey you guys, what's going on? Benny here, gonna be going through Philippians with you today. So what's happening is Paul is responding to this church. He's not with them anymore. He's responding to this church through this letter, this congregation of believers, but we have no idea what their letter consisted of in contacting and reaching out to Paul. What we do know though is that they were going through some stuff. All right, they were going through some stuff in their lives, in their day-to-day, in their culture and community, and they were a bit fatigued. They were a bit stressed out, confused, what to do, where to do things, how to do it. And that's where Paul jumps in with this cool letter that's a unique one, and we're going to see what it has for us and what Paul says to this church. All in all, if you get anything from what we're talking about today, it's this, what Paul writes in chapter 3, verse 1. Whatever happens, my dear brothers and sisters, rejoice in the Lord. All right? Because there was at this time some persecution and just struggles of being a Christian. How do you incorporate being a Christian in your life, or how do you make Christianity your life, right? Isn't that the big question? So that's what we're kind of focusing on today, how Paul encourages them, saying a lot along the lines of, hey, look guys, do good at caring for one another, looking after one another, and it has a lot to do with your actions now today, claiming the truth of your salvation that Jesus has bought for all of us through the cross. So what this means for us today is how living as a Christian means seeing your own story as a lived expression of Jesus' story. How cool is that, you guys? So thinking about this church, the Philippians, reaching out to Paul, they were newer in their faith. They didn't really know a whole lot of what to do and how to do it. So they reached out to Paul because they were essentially alone from their leadership, from their strength, and where they find their strength in their community. And that has a lot to do with our current situation as well, right? Where we can't necessarily be meeting all the time or going to church. And a lot of you guys have kind of expressed that that's a lot of your structure in your relationship with Jesus. So we can see now how our situation is more or less similar to this church of the Philippians situation. So what we know from Paul in this book, in all of his letters that he's written before, is he so deeply knows Jesus. This message could be hitting each and every one of us in different ways. For example, some of you guys watching, might not really know where you stand with Jesus. You guys might not know how you feel or think about him, whether that be true for you or not. specifically to you guys who just don't really feel like you believe in Jesus right now, or quite yet, or just not at all. Wherever you're at, just know that Jesus does love you, okay? But the thing is you can only experience the peace of God as a believer, okay? So in light of that, keeping that in mind, everything that Paul writes is out of his relationship with Jesus. So he doesn't necessarily speak of Jesus is great and also you can have peace, or Jesus is awesome and you can also experience joy. But instead of that, he more so talks about how Jesus is the answer. Jesus is his hope. Jesus is his peace. Jesus is his strength. Here's 3 things that we can work on, that you can work on this week to apply the scripture that we've been going through right now, okay? So, number 1, the next time you can complain about something, don't complain about it. But just be in the midst of it and just cease from complaining in that moment. Instead of thinking about how much you don't want to do that thing, whether it be washing the dishes, for example, or whatever that would be for you, that you feel like you can complain about. You have the opportunity to do that. Instead, don't, but choose to just in your mind, in your heart, be reflective and thankful for what you have in your life. Point number 2. In some capacity, treat someone else by putting their needs first. Okay? So put somebody else's needs above your own sometime this week, right? Because that's the exact point that Paul makes here in Scripture, right? In point number 3, choose to think about good thoughts. For example, the next time you're feeling frustrated, next time you're feeling down, but to think on things that are good. And like we discussed, this is where peace comes from. This is how we can get the peace of God. My example is Paul here, as we've learned. He's writing this letter while he's in prison to this church of the Philippians, encouraging from prison this church to be more thankful and to be thinking about things that are good and lovely and noble and godly, and encouraging them to pursue their relationship with Jesus in a close way. This is Paul saying that to the church while he's in prison. Debatably, in this season in his life, he doesn't know if he's going to be set free or put to death. And he's telling us, the church, to be thankful and to focus on Jesus and to be uplifted by focusing our mental energy and our time on good things, not bad things. There's always going to be something we can complain about. That's something that we can take heart in, remembering today that we can do something about our salvation that can benefit people around us, as well as this relationship that we have with Jesus is a connection that we can get peace and joy and contentment no matter what we're in. Thanks, you guys.